And welcome back. On to another important matter now. In its efforts to reduce the wage bill for public servants, government has already set in motion offers for penalty-free early retirement packages. State employees such as teachers, police officers, prison warders, soldiers between the ages of 55 and 59 are among those identified for retirement. Now, this week, Public Service and Administration Minister Senzo Mchunu emphasized that even though the department still intends to cut at least 30,000 jobs over the next 3 years, it would prioritize skills and institutional memory. But of course, some unions have concerns about exactly how this is to work. So to discuss this further from our Pretoria studio is Tahir Maepa, a Deputy General Manager for the Public Servants Association. Thank you so much for speaking to us this morning, Tahir.
Thank you very much for having me.
So firstly, let's talk about the messages from government, because right there, I believe, is some concern. If one just looks at, for example, before the elections, the talk of a bloated public service and cutting 30,000 jobs, that was at some point denied by government. But now we see it is firmly back on the table in exactly those terms, talking about the number of jobs that need to be shed. But also you have concerns about other conflicting messages from government. Let's start there.
Yes, unfortunately, we're dealing with an employer or the state that is suffering from amnesia. They sending different messages why they want to cut down these so-called 30,000 jobs. Something that I must categorically put it clear that is something that will not allow. Government cannot retrench. It's going to send a very, very bad precedence out there. Already the country is bleeding in terms of job shedding, and if the state is going to be spearheading that kind of mentality, is basically destroying the whole economic ecosystem. But also we are worried by the fact that the minister is saying that the public service is not bloated. They've got financial problems. Now, if you have financial problems, you deal with where the problem is. You cannot use public servants as a scapegoat to justify why you should recover whatever losses that were created by your own maladministration. So, and the other thing that they are alleging is that they intend creating jobs for the youth. You cannot say that you're trying to cut costs and then you're going to create jobs. The two do not come together. So I think the minister and the government must be honest. And the honest truth is that they are in financial crisis. And let's rather deal with the crisis instead of trying to camouflage the intention.
Now, speaking to that financial difficulty that government finds itself in, what's your opinion regarding Finance Minister Tito Mbowene's statements that the public wage bill is unsustainable as it sits at around 585 billion rand a year? What's your take on that?
Well, my take on that, I agree with Tito Mbowene as far as the financial situation. We need to make sure that we curtail the element of wastage within the public service. It's got nothing to do with the wage bill. It's got to do with financial management. The state has failed to manage the finances of this country in many respects, and that is very clear in the Auditor General's report, where billions and billions of rands have been wasted in fruitless expenditures and so forth. So it's got nothing to do with the public service. The very same SABC, for instance, one of the pride of this country, it was almost run to the ground because of the same maladministration, because of government has put people in the helm of the SABC who are incompetent, who don't know what they are doing. Now the SABC is in dire strait, and the workers, they are also in danger of being retrenched because of wrong decisions and wrong leadership. We cannot allow a situation where cars are going to be used as scapegoats for wrong decision making. We need to hold the government responsible, and the way to hold them responsible is to assist them by making sure that this maladministration, this corruption, the lack of skills in senior positions is dealt with, because of so long as we don't have competent leaders, there's no way that we are going to turn around this ship.
That, of course, one would imagine would be medium to long term. But looking at the immediate term, in documents detailing the guidelines for applications for people to take early retirement packages, the Department of Public Service and Administration has blamed the decision on the 2018 wage settlement agreement with the unions. So can you just elucidate for us what exactly was that agreement, and how could it have been that one of those issues would be the factor that led to where we find ourselves right now with these early retirement packages?
Well, again, I would like to disagree with that notion that that agreement is the cause of where we are sitting, because that agreement was one of the poorly negotiated agreement. The workers in the public service, truly speaking, got nothing out of that process. In fact, we are behind as far as you're looking at the market increments. For instance, in SARS, as you would know, we just concluded an agreement there, which is part of the state, where the workers in SARS got about 8%. Yet in the public service, they're getting about 4.5%, 5%. So there's no way that you can attribute that to that particular agreement. What we need to start realizing is that government expenditure as a whole need to be revamped. It's got nothing to do with salaries. The whole expenses of the state, the manner in which we prioritize our spending needs to be overhauled. And we need to have our priorities right. Once we have our priorities right, we'll know where to spend and where not to spend. But there's no way we can attribute the crisis that we are facing to one sector of our country, which is the public service. That wouldn't make sense in any man's language.
So the reality right now, though, is that this notice has come into effect. It came into effect on April the 1st. What has been the response and the uptake from your union members, at least? Has it been positive? Has it been negative? And how many of your members have actually taken to this and applied for the packages?
Well, currently, the situation is that the government is encouraging people to take these packages. We are discouraging our members to take these packages. But however, we have already we started a process, because at the end of the day, this thing that they call an offer is not an offer. It has always been part of our policy, the policy of government, that you can take early retirement without penalty under certain circumstances. So it's not even an offer. They're lying when they say it's an offer. It has always been there. The issue that we are doing now is to make sure that our members don't find themselves in financial crisis. As you would know, that majority of the public servants, they are not only looking after their immediate family, but they are also looking after extended families, and lack of income will plunge families into disarray. So what we are doing, we have created a safety net where our members come in, we give them financial advice, those who want to go. There may be those who can afford to go, but as far as we can assess, majority of the public servants are not ready to go, because they will not be able to afford the kind of living that they have now. And so far, majority of our members have rejected this, and our campaign to alert them not to take this carrot is going on. That is why the state is even forcing some of the public servants to take these so-called packages. But so far it's not working, and we'll continue extending our campaign to discourage public servants.
Thank you so much, Tahir Maepa, Deputy General Manager for Public Servants Association, for talking to us about the penalty-free early retirement packages being offered to state employees. That brings us up to news time at 8 with Leanne.